Inside the boardroom at Cole Estates, the air was stale and corporate. A row of executives, each dressed to kill, sat at the long table as Ethan stood at the head. One of them, a silver-haired man with a voice like static, cleared his throat. With, "Respect, Ethan, this affair's bleeding into business." "Her dignity isn't an affair," Ethan replied. Another voice chimed in, a younger woman with flawless lipstick. "Our brand represents refinement. Emma's background and now this controversy. It complicates things." Complicates? Who? You? Investors? Or just your dinner parties? There was a pause. "We're suggesting distance," someone offered carefully. Ethan stared at the table, then back at them. "No. What I'm suggesting is you don't know who she is. But I do. And I'm not leaving her." He walked out before they could respond. That afternoon, Emma picked Olivia up from school early. She sat on the grass beneath a mango tree while Olivia played on the swings. Nearby, two mothers whispered to each other, eyeing her with veiled disdain. Emma caught one phrase clearly. "Poor girl thinks she's Cinderella." She stood, walked to Olivia, and crouched beside her. "Want to take the long way home?" "Always," Olivia smiled. As they walked through the streets, Emma noticed the difference. People looked longer. Some turned away. One man muttered something she couldn't hear. But the tone was enough. She walked faster. That night, she lay in bed staring at the ceiling, every muscle tight. Her phone buzzed again. Another article, another comment, another poison dart. She didn't even check it. Then the tears came. Not quiet ones, but raw, broken sobs that shook her chest. She pressed a pillow to her face, trying not to wake. Olivia. But her little sister was already at the door, peeking in. "Emmy?" Emma wiped her face. "Go back to sleep, baby." Olivia walked in anyway, climbed into bed beside her, and wrapped her arms around her big sister. "You're not bad," she whispered. "Even if the world says it." Emma didn't answer, but she held Olivia so close it hurt. Across town, James and Vanessa sat in a private lounge. "You see the headlines?" Vanessa asked smugly. James sipped his whiskey. "She's cracking." Vanessa smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "She will," he added. Vanessa hesitated. For the first time, a flicker of doubt crossed her. "Maybe we've done enough," she muttered. James turned, his face hard. "You don't get soft now." "I'm not soft. I'm human," he chuckled. "You didn't care about that when she humiliated you last year." Vanessa looked away. "That was petty. This is something else." James stood. "You either see it through or get out of the way." She didn't reply. But later that night, alone in her apartment, she scrolled through the hate Emma was receiving. A photo of Emma crying in her hallway. Olivia's face blurred in the background. Vanessa's stomach twisted. Maybe this wasn't about revenge anymore. Maybe it was just cruelty. The next morning, Emma found a letter in Olivia's school bag. Notice: verbal bullying has been reported. We advise a meeting with the class teacher. Emma froze. Her little lion-hearted sister bullied because of her. She sat down at the table, the paper trembling in her hands. She had no more tears, just fury. Not at Olivia, not even at the world, at herself, for thinking she could rise and leave it all behind. That evening, she met Ethan in a quiet cafe. She slid the letter across the table. "She's being bullied," she said. Ethan read it, slowly, silently. Then, he reached across and took her hand. "You've carried the world," he said. "Let me carry this with you." Her chin trembled. "I just wanted her to have a normal life." "She will," Ethan said. "But not if we give up now." She stared at him. "What if this never ends?" "Then we fight until it does." Emma nodded, not because she believed it completely, but because she wanted to. And that was enough. For now. The first time Emma saw her mother's name in a headline, she thought it was a mistake. She'd been making Olivia's lunch, humming quietly. When her phone buzzed again, another alert. She nearly ignored it, but curiosity got the better of her. The headline burned, Emma Davis's tragic secret. Mother was alleged escort, claims father. She dropped the bread knife. The article was venom dressed in pity. A manufactured quote from James read, "She tried to bury her past, but truth has a way of surfacing. Her mother lived a double life. I stayed quiet for too long. Now the world deserves honesty." There were blurry photos, accusations with no sources, and language, carefully chosen to shame. Words like illegitimate, manipulative, hidden shame. The comment section was a wildfire of judgment. So that's how she paid for hotel school. Runs in the family. No wonder she clings to rich men. Emma couldn't breathe. She backed away from the table, her chest tightening, her pulse spiking. The walls felt too close. Her vision tunneled. A sound escaped her, part gasp, part sob. Before her knees buckled beneath her, she collapsed. "Emma!" Olivia ran from the hallway, her face pale with fear. She crouched beside her sister, trying to shake her awake. "Emmy, wake up. Please." But Emma was frozen, not unconscious, just lost inside a black wave of memories. The smell of their mother's perfume, her soft voice telling bedtime stories, her cough, dry and stubborn in the final weeks. The unanswered phone calls to James, the loneliness, the shame. 3 hours later, Ethan burst into the apartment, kneeling beside her where she still sat slumped against the wall. "I should have known he'd go this far," Emma whispered, her voice hoarse. Ethan's jaw tightened. He didn't speak, not yet. Emma looked up at him. "Is it true?" she asked. He frowned. "What?" she swallowed. "My mom? Was it true?" He cupped her face. "It doesn't matter. She never told me." "Emma, listen to me. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your mother's life, especially not people who never lifted a finger to help her." Tears streamed silently down her face. "But what if they're right? What if—" "They're not." Ethan stood, walked to the window, and stared out into the storm-soaked city. Then he said, "It's time." By the next morning, every major journalist in the city had received a simple, sharp invitation. Cole Estates press briefing, emergency address, 6 p.m. tonight. Location, Crownville Towers Ballroom. Speaker, Ethan Cole. Speculation exploded. Was he stepping down? Firing Emma? Addressing corporate scandal? By the time the ballroom filled, there were 3 times as many reporters as chairs. Cameras pointed at a single podium. Behind it, a banner simply read, "Integrity, Identity, Truth." Ethan entered quietly, dressed not in his signature luxury, but in a plain black suit. No tie, no lapel pin, just him. He stepped to the microphone and looked out over the crowd. Not at the reporters, but into the cameras. "The country was watching," he began. "I've never held a press conference like this," Ethan said, voice calm, "because I've never needed to defend someone I love against poison disguised as journalism." A murmur swept the room. He continued, "Emma Davis is not a scandal. She is not a headline. She is not a shameful secret hiding behind a pretty face. He let that hang in the air. She is someone who lost her mother, raised her sister, worked 2 jobs, studied hospitality not because it was handed to her, but because she earned it. While others mocked her for mopping floors, she learned how to run hotels. While others posted lies, she showed up, on time, every time." He took a breath. "I've read every ugly word written this week. I've heard every whisper, every boardroom warning, every cold PR recommendation." He stepped closer to the mic. "But here's what they forgot. And I want the world to hear it clearly." The room was silent. While the world judged Emma for walking through mud, they forgot to look at the flower that grew from it. There was a pause, a long, holy silence. Then a ripple of applause. Not polite. Real. Ethan nodded once. Anyone spreading these lies should be ashamed. Emma didn't abandon anyone, she was abandoned. She didn't run from the truth, she survived it. And I stand with her, not because of how she looks, but because of who she is. He stepped back. Flashbulbs erupted, but Ethan walked out without, taking a single question. He had said enough. Back at home, Emma sat curled on the couch with Olivia, both watching the live stream on a tablet. She hadn't spoken the entire time. She couldn't, not until the end. When Ethan said, "Mud grows flowers," her hand flew to her mouth. Tears welled. Olivia leaned against her shoulder. "He loves you," the little girl whispered. Emma nodded. She believed it now. Across the city, Vanessa Johnson stood in her penthouse staring at the same live stream on her TV. The last 5 words echoed in her head. Mud grows flowers. Her face was unreadable, but her drink sat untouched. James, meanwhile, paced furiously in his apartment. "He just made her untouchable," he growled. "That smug bastard. We need to go bigger, deeper." Vanessa turned slowly. Maybe we should stop." James paused. "What?" Her voice was different, colder, tired. "This is going too far. The girl's breaking. The kid is getting bullied. What are we doing, James? We're fighting back." "No," she said. "You're destroying your own daughter." It had been exactly 1 year since Emma Davis last looked over her shoulder when walking home. And that, for her, was a miracle. She'd spent too many nights gripping pepper spray in her coat pocket, praying no one noticed the girl in a janitor's uniform taking the late bus. But that was before the mud, before the splash, before the shame, and the stranger who had seen her. Now, Emma woke up in a small but bright apartment with her sister Olivia's laughter echoing down the hall. The place wasn't fancy. Peeling wallpaper in the kitchen, one shared bathroom, windows that sometimes stuck, but it was theirs. Emma paid the rent with a mix of her night shifts at Crownville Towers and a scholarship she fought tooth and nail to earn. During the day, she studied hotel management. At night, she served drinks to the wealthiest people in the city, wearing heels instead of sneakers, a sleek bun instead of a mop cap. She'd built something from nothing. She was proud of that. "Toaster pancakes," Emma called from the kitchen, flipping a spatula like a pro. "Toast!" Olivia yelled back, twirling barefoot in her school uniform. "I've got to read a poem today. I need toast energy." Emma laughed and kissed her forehead. "Toast energy it is." They sat by the window, Olivia chattering about her teacher's silly necktie and her class's pet hamster. Emma only half listened. Not because she didn't care. She did, more than anything. But because peace still felt fragile, like the surface of a lake. Still, but easy to break. And that morning, something cracked beneath it. Across the city, in a dim basement apartment filled with the bitter smell of cheap liquor and regret, James Davis sat hunched over a wrinkled newspaper. His shirt was stained. His eyes were bloodshot. A long-heeled scar cut through his left eyebrow. The man had not aged gracefully. He had rotted from the inside. The headline on the paper read, "From Mud to Bloom, Billionaire's Muse Shares Her Story." There she was, Emma, his daughter, in a clean, tailored suit standing next to Ethan. Cole, one of the most powerful businessmen in the region, her hair tied back like a senator, her eyes steady, confident. James crushed the paper in his fists. "So, she thinks she's better than me now?" He stood up so fast, the chair screeched. "Doesn't even remember who gave her life." He grabbed his jacket, staggered toward the door, and left it swinging open behind him. That afternoon, Emma's shift at Crownville flew by. Guests smiled. Her supervisor nodded in silent approval. The hotel's flower vendor even gave her a rose, just because. On the way home, Emma hummed. The air was warm. The city lights flickered gently in the distance. She was unlocking the gate to her apartment building when she heard it. Emma. Her spine went rigid. That voice, low, sharp, too familiar. She turned slowly. There he was, leaning against the gate like he belonged there. Thinner, grayer, but unmistakable. James Davis. Emma's mouth dried. "What are you doing here?" Her voice was steady, but her fingers clenched the strap of her bag like it might float away. James stepped forward. His smile was a lazy mockery. "I came to see my daughters." Emma didn't budge. "I don't have a father." His eyes flickered, just for a second. "So that's how you speak to your own blood now?" She looked him straight in the eye. "You stopped being my blood when Mom got sick and you disappeared." He flinched. "When we were boiling tap water for dinner, she still believed in you. She kept saying, 'Your father will come back.' But you didn't. Not once. I was dealing with things," he growled. "But she wasn't listening. After she died, I worked until my hands bled. I raised Olivia. You were never there. So now what?" James snapped. "Because some rich man bought you nice clothes, you think you're royalty?" Emma's tone turned cold. "You didn't give me life. You gave me scars." Then suddenly, a hand touched her shoulder. Warm, solid, Ethan. He stood beside her, calm and commanding in his sharp suit. "Is there a problem here?" he asked. James straightened. "This is family business." Emma stepped between them. "No, family is someone who stays." James narrowed his eyes. "This isn't over," he muttered before walking away, his shoulders tense with rage. He meant it. That night, James called someone he hadn't spoken to in over a year, not a friend, an enemy, Vanessa Johnson. Once the darling of social media, she'd fallen from grace after a scandal involving, ironically, Emma herself. She was now persona non grata in most circles. Her brand deals had dried up. Her father's trust fund came with conditions she didn't meet anymore. She answered the call on the third ring. "Who is this?" "You hate her," James said. "I want her gone." There was a pause. "Reply," she typed. "Her father." Vanessa's lips curled into a slow smile. The next day, Emma dropped Olivia at school and stopped by a fruit stall to pick up plantains. Her phone buzzed with notifications. Dozens. Too many. She opened one. Headline: "Clean as father speaks. Billionaire's girlfriend cut me off after I raised her." There was a photo of James, sad, framed in soft lighting. The quote below read, "She changed. Money changed her. I was there before the fame, but now I'm nothing to her." Emma's hands trembled. The bag of fruit slipped from her grasp. More messages poured in. "Emma is trending. Did you abandon your father? Do you have a comment?" She walked away from the stall without a word, the sounds of the city fading behind her. That evening, inside Ethan's office, the tension was thick. He slammed his tablet on the desk. "Who approved this story?" he barked. His assistant stuttered. "It was a blog, unsourced, viral overnight. Find out who paid them." Across the city, Vanessa sipped wine on a balcony, watching the chaos unfold on her phone. "Let the fall begin," she whispered. James, standing beside her, crossed his arms. "That's just the first hit." Vanessa turned to him. "Trust me," she said. "Her real pain hasn't even started." Emma sat in silence in her apartment. Her phone buzzed again. One message from Ethan. "I'm here. I believe you. We're going to fight this together." She held the phone to her chest and closed her eyes, not because she wanted to cry, but because she realized something terrifying. The storm wasn't coming. It was already here. The internet didn't explode. It corroded. Slowly, steadily, like acid over steel. One post, then a thread, then a TikTok expose, then anonymous messages claiming to know Emma before she got rich. The algorithm ate it up. Emma Davis went viral for all the wrong reasons. At first it was speculation, then edited clips, then twisted stories about her being a social climber who ditched her past and used tragedy to climb into Ethan Cole's life. The most shared clip was of her accepting a student award, paused at just the right frame to make her smirk seem smug. The caption read, "From cleaner to gold digger. Must be nice." It had nearly 3 million views in 2 days. Emma stood by the window of her apartment, phone in hand, but no longer reading. She couldn't. The headlines blurred. Did Emma, lie about her past? Former janitor hides family shame while dating billionaire. James Davis speaks out again, she pretends I don't exist. The last one hurt the most. Not because it was a lie, but because people believed it. The comments were even worse. Ungrateful brat. This is why you can't trust rags to riches girls. She'll ruin him. Emma set the phone down and stared at the wall. A crack ran down the corner of the paint. She focused on it, trying to anchor herself. Then she heard it. "Emmy?" Olivia stood by the door, her backpack nearly as big as she was. Her eyes were wide, uncertain. I don't feel like going to school today." Emma turned. "Why not, baby?" Olivia hesitated. "Some kids said bad things. About you, about us." Emma's heart sank. "They said we're lying, that we're not really family, that you're not special, just lucky." Emma walked over, knelt in front of her. "What did you say?" "I told them they were dumb," Olivia said, blinking back tears. "But I didn't feel brave." Emma pulled her into a hug so tight it trembled. "You're the bravest person I know," she whispered. Later that night, Emma sat across from Ethan in his penthouse, her tea untouched. "I don't think I can do this," she said quietly. He looked at her, brows knitting. "I didn't sign up to be a symbol, Ethan. I just wanted to survive, study, give Olivia a real chance. I didn't ask for this." "You didn't," he agreed. "Maybe we should pause. Us. The company is watching. You're under fire. Olivia's getting bullied because of me." Ethan's jaw tightened. "So what, you disappear? Give them what they want?" "I'm protecting the people I love. And I'm one of them," he said firmly. "You don't protect me by erasing yourself." She looked away. "I don't want you to resent me." He leaned forward. "Emma, I've seen what resentment looks like. Your father wears it like a second skin. That's not us." Silence settled, heavy, honest. Then she whispered, "I'm scared." He reached for her hand. "So am I, but we fight anyway." By morning, Ethan's name was trending next to Emma's. Should Cole Estates CEO rethink his relationship? Ethan Cole's brand faces backlash amid Emma Gate. Luxury Plus scandal? Bad business? He slammed his glass onto the table. She made her choice. She chose him over me. And now you're trying to ruin her life to make up for your own failure. He stared at her, furious. But Vanessa didn't flinch. "I'm done," she said. "I'm not like you." The next morning, Emma heard a knock on her door. She opened it cautiously and froze. Vanessa Johnson stood in the hallway, alone, wearing a white blazer and holding a plain brown envelope. "No photographers? No drama," she said. "I just came to say I'm sorry." Emma raised an eyebrow. "For splashing mud on me? For mocking me? Or for joining forces with my father to destroy everything I built?" Vanessa's shoulders dropped. All of it. She stepped back, gave Emma space. "I was cruel because it was easy. You were rising. I was sinking. It felt good. For a minute. Until it didn't." Emma didn't reply. Vanessa held out the envelope. "This is everything. Emails, screenshots, audio. Every scheme, every dirty plan. Use it however you want." Emma took it slowly. "Why are you giving this to me now?" Vanessa's voice softened. Because I believe something Ethan said about flowers. And because I want to see if mud can clean people too. She turned and walked away, heels echoing softly down the corridor. That night, Emma opened the envelope, with Ethan beside her. She read everything, listened to the recordings, saw the screenshots, James calling her a resource, Vanessa talking to editors, mocking Olivia, suggesting stories to spin. It was devastating. It was also power. Ethan looked at her. "We can take them down with this." Emma shook her head. "I'm not using it for revenge." "Then for what?" She looked at him, then at Olivia, asleep on the couch with a blanket over her. "For protection," she said. She had been through fire, through mud, through shame. But now she held the truth, and that was enough to begin rising again. It was Thursday. The sky was cloudless, the air dry and heavy. A stillness hung in the city, the kind that comes before something breaks. Emma Davis was running late. Her meeting with the scholarship board had gone over time. They wanted her insight on growing Crownville's hospitality program, something she'd once dreamed of from behind a mop. She should have been proud, but her mind was somewhere else. On Olivia. She texted the school as she rushed out of the building. "Running late. Please keep Olivia safe until I arrive. Emma Davis." She didn't know that the message came seconds too late. Outside the school gate, Olivia stood in the shade of a mango tree, backpack slung over one shoulder. Her eyes scanned the road looking for Emma. Instead, she saw a familiar man in a new shirt, clean-shaven, holding a shiny pink gift bag, smiling like they had known each other forever. "You're the man from last time," Olivia said cautiously. James Davis nodded. "That's right. I'm your daddy." Olivia hesitated. "Emma said you're not," James chuckled. "That's because she's still upset, but today's special." She blinked. "Why?" "It's your birthday." "No, it's not." "It is now." He grinned. "Come on, I've got cake, toys, and a big surprise. Just a short ride. We'll be back before Emma even knows." He held out the gift bag. Inside was a stuffed animal with a glittery ribbon around its neck. Olivia bit her lip. The toy sparkled, and she was still just a child. Slowly, she followed him. Emma arrived 20 minutes later, panting from the heat and sprint. "Sorry I'm late," she said to the school secretary. "I'm here for Olivia." The woman frowned. She left already. With her father. Emma's breath caught. "What?" The secretary blinked. "She said you knew. A man came with a gift." Emma was already on her phone. "Call security. Now." Inside his car, James drove with one hand on the wheel and a forced smile on his face. Olivia sat quietly, the stuffed animal on her lap looking out the window. "We're not going home," she said after a few minutes. "No," James replied. "We're going somewhere better." Her voice shrank. "Emma doesn't like surprises." James didn't answer. He pulled into a warehouse district on the far side of the city. Abandoned buildings, no cameras, no people. He parked behind a rusted container. Olivia's voice was small now. "Where's the cake?" James turned to her, his face no longer warm. "There's no cake." Terror started to rise in her chest. At you. The same moment, Ethan's office was chaos. "She's gone?" he repeated into the phone. Emma's voice was breaking. "She left with him. I was late. I'm activating security," Ethan said. "Now." He hung up and turned to his team. Trace every camera within a mile of the school. Traffic, street, ATM, everything. Get her face. Get his car. Move. Within minutes, Ethan's private security team had pinpointed the make and model of James's vehicle and tracked it heading toward the East District. "They're off main roads," the lead tech said. "Warehouse zone. He's trying to vanish." "Then let's find him before he does," Ethan growled. James opened the car door and reached for Olivia. She didn't move. "Come on," he barked. "I want to go home," she whispered. His grip tightened. "You're going to help me teach your sister a lesson." But before he could drag her out, the screech of tires split the air. Black SUVs surrounded them, doors slammed open, armed men in civilian suits emerged like shadows from the dark. James backed away from the car, panic blooming. "Across his face! Stay back!" he screamed, but it was too late. He was tackled, pinned, and cuffed to the ground within seconds. Olivia bolted from the car and into the arms of one of the guards, crying and trembling. Moments later, Emma arrived, her body shaking, her face pale. She dropped to her knees as Olivia ran into her arms. "I'm so sorry, baby," Emma sobbed. "I'm so sorry. I was scared." Olivia clung to her. "He lied to me." Emma kissed her hair. "He'll never hurt you again." The charges came fast and hard. Attempted kidnapping, blackmail, conspiracy, defamation, Vanessa S. evidence sealed the case. James Davis sat in a small interrogation room, his wrists chained to the table, his expression blank. He didn't speak when his lawyer entered. He didn't blink when the file was dropped in front of him, thick with emails and screenshots. "You're done," the lawyer said. "You're not getting out of this." James looked away. He didn't cry. He didn't scream, but inside, he crumbled. He had destroyed every last bridge he once called family. Emma sat on her apartment balcony, watching the rain fall in soft curtains over the city skyline. Olivia was finally asleep. Ethan sat beside her, silent. "Do you feel different?" he asked gently. Emma closed her eyes. "No, not different, just lighter." She paused. "He's gone. Really gone?" Ethan didn't reply. He just took her hand and held it. After a long silence, she said, "I'm not angry anymore." He turned to her. "Not even at him?" She shook her head. "I can't carry it anymore. I want peace more than I want revenge." Ethan smiled. "You've earned it." For the first time in years, Emma believed it. The next morning, national. Headlines ran with the news. James Davis arrested, shocking plot against daughter uncovered. Vanessa Johnson testifies in exchange for immunity. Emma Davis cleared of all accusations. Blogs shifted tone. Comment sections softened. Emma's name began to untangle from the mud, but she didn't celebrate. She simply got Olivia ready for school, packed her lunch, walked her to the gate, and kissed her cheek before waving goodbye. The sun was warm, the wind soft, and for once the weight of the past didn't follow her home. 3 months later, Emma Davis stood behind a velvet curtain, her hands folded tightly over her notes. The grand ballroom of the National Women in Leadership Conference buzzed on the other side. Hundreds of chairs filled with business leaders, activists, educators, and media. The spotlight wasn't on Ethan Cole this time. It was on her. She peeked out into the crowd. In the front row, Olivia sat with a notebook in her lap and a juice box beside her. Her legs swung beneath the chair, nervous but excited. Beside her sat Ethan, calm and composed, in a dark blazer and open collar. He gave Emma a soft nod, like he always did when the world felt too big. "Next up," the host announced, "we welcome Emma Davis, hospitality scholar, VIP service director at Crownville Towers, and a name the nation now knows for far more than controversy. Today, she shares not the scandal, but the story." Applause rose. Emma stepped into the light. She didn't wear designer clothes. Her outfit was simple: cream-colored blouse, tailored pants, small earrings, no mask, no stage version of herself, just the woman who'd survived. The room quieted. "I used to mop the floors of a hotel where this event was once held," she began. A ripple of interest spread. "I wasn't invited. I didn't have credentials. I had a cart and a name tag that no one read." She paused. "Today, I stand here not because someone gave me a ladder, but because I refused to stay beneath one." She scanned the faces before her. Some of you know parts of my story. You've seen the headlines, heard the gossip, maybe judged me. That's okay. The truth is, I used to judge myself too. Silence. Stillness. My mother died when I was 17. My father left long before that. I raised my little sister, Olivia, who is here today. She smiled down at the front row. Olivia grinned and waved awkwardly, earning soft chuckles from the audience. I scrubbed bathtubs and banquet halls. I slept through my own birthdays to make sure she had hers. I cried in storage closets. I kept going. Emma's voice was calm, not rehearsed, but grounded. And when people tried to turn my past into shame, I didn't fight them with hate. I fought with resilience. A woman in the back nodded. Another wiped a tear. I'm not here to be applauded. I'm not here to be a symbol. I'm here to be proof that the pain you survive doesn't have to be your identity. A pause. That dignity doesn't come from where you came from. It comes from what you choose when the world tries to bury you. Soft applause began. It grew, but Emma didn't smile for it. She closed with, I stand here not because I was rescued, but because I refused to drown. Then she stepped back. The applause swelled, not explosive, but full, real. Emma didn't bow. She just nodded. A quiet thank you. She walked off stage straight into Olivia's arms. Later that night, the city twinkled like a blanket of stars below the rooftop where it had all begun. Emma stood barefoot at the edge, feeling the wind in her hair. This building had seen her cry, break, heal. Now it would witness something new. Ethan joined her in silence, holding 2 mugs of tea. He handed one to her. I still remember the first time I saw you, he said. Not in heels, not on a red carpet, but standing behind a velvet rope, watching everyone else like you weren't allowed to be seen. Emma smiled slightly. I didn't want to be seen, but I did, he said. I saw you, the way you watched people, not with envy, with curiosity, like you already knew how the room worked. I did, she said, from the floor up. They stood there a moment longer, just breathing. Then Ethan reached into his coat pocket. Emma blinked. He dropped to one knee, opened a small velvet box. Inside was a delicate silver ring, crowned with a single teardrop diamond. Not flashy, not expensive, but meaningful. Like her. I didn't fall in love with the girl who rose from the mud, Ethan said, voice low and steady. I fell in love with the woman who never stopped blooming, even when the world tried to bury her. Emma's breath caught. He looked up. Emma Davis, will you marry me? Not as someone I saved, but as someone I want to walk beside for the rest of my life. For a moment, she couldn't speak. Then she nodded. Yes, she whispered. Yes, 1,000 times. He stood, slipped the ring onto her finger and kissed her, soft and full and quiet. Below them, the city glowed. Above them, the sky didn't roar or crack, it simply held them. The next morning, Emma made breakfast. Olivia danced around the kitchen. Ethan poured coffee. There were no headlines, no cameras, no whispers, just peace. The scars didn't vanish. The memories didn't erase. But Emma Davis, daughter, sister, survivor, had finally done the one thing she'd fought for all her life. She had built her own ending, not loud. Not perfect, but true. She had chosen love over legacy, healing over revenge, and most of all, she had chosen to bloom. If you watched until the end, comment the word bloom, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with friends and family.